so happy you're on our podcast. And, we were talking to your team and we thought, what a great way to kick this off because being I don't know what we call ourselves, but people who love Beauty Pie and are now using it or working with you and your company is like a dream. So for those of you who are new and listening to this podcast, you've got such a crazy story and we had to talk to you before we told everyone the why of this partnership, because there's so much more than just the product that we love. It's the person behind the product too.
Who happens to also be Canadian like us.
We love it.
What do you refer yourself? If I know you as Marcia, but what do you call yourself? In terms of who you are, or what would you? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I get that tag of being a serial entrepreneur, right?
Right.
I mean, it sounds like everybody these days is a serial entrepreneur. I suppose I love building businesses, but in the end, I'm just like a beauty junkie like everybody else, and I love shopping and I love great deals. So I am number one woman shopper, normal person like everybody else, and I just tend to act on my loves for great product and good deals.
It's funny, last night we were at a dinner with a lot of female entrepreneurs, and I was talking to one of them, and she had not because in Canada, because the launch also in
the launch of Beauty Pie, we should say what it is. Beauty Pie,
yes,
which is a brand that you kicked off in the UK.
Yes, because I happen to live in the UK, and I lived there for about 7 years, a few years ago. So it was easier for me because I knew so many people, and it was sort of current to create a team in the UK. And we had this crazy idea of how to get women a lot more bang for their beauty buck, and that's sort of what inspired the whole thing.
You're so ahead of the curve on it too, because I feel like the conversation is starting now. I feel like social media has really helped debunk the myths of Beauty Pie, but I mean of the whole skincare and makeup world. But for those of you who don't know, I guess before we get storytelling, is Beauty Pie is your baby, well, one of your many babies, and Beauty Pie is skincare, makeup, supplements, hair care. What else am I missing?
Body care, fragrance, French candles.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that I'm looking, I have shelves of everything. I think, oh no, we have nail care also. So we have the best nail polish from the best nail polish lab. And oh my God, we just launched hairbrushes. So we have the best boar's bristle hairbrushes from this incredible supply.
I have to tell you that how I know that. So our daughters are in dance, and hairbrushes matter so much, because when you don't realize that some go deeper than others, and the flyaways, you don't know this because you don't do your daughter's hair. I have to do little kids' hair,
but I used to. Yeah. And I have the brush, and my daughter has stolen the brush.
So you take it, and then it actually pulls things back. And when you have a ponytail and you go like this, not all brushes do that. They don't make it smooth.
That's a boar's bristle. So, I mean, this is what we kind of do. We research. If we don't already know everything about a particular kind of product or an ingredient, we'll research it and we'll find the very, very best version of it. And then we'll find out who makes the very, very best version of it. And then we go and buy it in large quantities. And then we bring it to Beauty Pie warehouses. And then all of our members can access that product, which is the very, very best of its kind, for a huge saving versus regular retail. And that is kind of it's so fun for us because we get to constantly learn about the newest ingredients that are coming out, the best formulations, the best hairbrushes, which happen to be boar's bristle hairbrushes. And prior to the Beauty Pie version, if you wanted a boar's bristle hairbrush, it was a brand that started with MP, and it was $80. And not everybody wants to buy an $80 hairbrush for themselves, number one, or for their kids. My son has stolen my hairbrushes, so I know exactly how you feel about the hairbrush. But boar's bristle is, it's a byproduct, of course, of the meat industry, but they use the bristles to make brushes, because when you brush your hair with a boar's bristle, it makes the cuticle of your hair lie flat, which, number one, and of course, this is not a situation that you have to worry about for someone who's very young, but for anybody who colors their hair, it stops color leakage from the hair, but it also makes your hair super shiny because the cuticle is laying flat because you've brushed it. Third, and I'm going to go off, I tend to kind of get really excited about products, but so many people have lost hair after COVID, whether it's from the COVID virus itself. but so many. And what we found, and there's a lot of research now behind it, is that a lot of circulation being lost in the scalp is one of the reasons why people will tend to just generally lose their hair. So brushing your hair regularly, like, you know how our moms would say, brush your hair 100 times a day? It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to, because it brings circulation, and the circulation feeds oxygen and red blood cells and micronutrients into the scalp, and then feeds the hair follicles, which need that food to regrow hair.
Okay, Marcia, you have your passion for the beauty industry is huge. And guys, for everyone who's listening, she is running Beauty Pie. She's the founder, but you have a history of, like, you were an esthetician. You started like that, doing the best facials. Every celebrity needed to see her. So she's coming from a background of lots of knowledge, already had another company, sold that company. So why did you want to start Beauty Pie? And to explain to the people listening, what's different about Beauty Pie, the way that you buy it, than any other product?
Great question. Thanks. Well, I started Bliss, which was a spa in New York in 1996, and some listeners may have heard of it, and some maybe not. But we were kind of the first fun day spa where it wasn't necessarily about coming in and feeling ashamed of your skin. It was about coming in and having a break from your everyday existence and really having a cool and fun and relaxing experience. And we did have a lot of celebrities. So I have given facials to everyone from like Uma, Oprah, Madonna. They all kind of rhyme, don't they?
And like you did it with your hands?
Yeah, I was, yes, that's how I started out. Well, first I was a personal trainer, but then when I moved to New York, my skin got really terrible. And one summer I decided to go to skincare school so I could learn, like, why is my skin so terrible, and try and solve my own problem. And then I ended up getting really interested in it and going to UCLA for a crash course in cosmetic chemistry. So I took that course. And when I moved back to New York, I was still doing personal training to try and pay my way through university. But at the same time, I thought, hey, let me give people facials, because a lot of the girls who were coming to me for personal training happened to be budding models. I had this sort of line into a modeling agency. So, and it was a coincidence, but I would exercise with them for an hour and a half, and then I would practice my facials on them. So they'd lay on the floor in my apartment in the East Village, and I would give them facials. And I started to get this reputation with the modeling agencies for being able to clear up people's skin. So I ended up getting a one-room studio in Soho before Soho was cool, because it was the only thing I could afford. And I started to have people come to me more for facials than personal training, which was great, because the personal training thing all day long is really exhausting. And I ended up with this sort of celebrity clientele, I think because, you know, the modeling industry kind of begets models, and then the models work with actresses, and the actresses work with stunt people, and the stunt people work with, and so I ended up,
I feel like that's so much pressure, like Oprah's face, like I would be like, okay, is this okay? No, but I guess you know what you're doing. There's no pressure.
No, after a few, I mean, I could do a facial, a really great one with my eyes closed. By the end of it, I could sort of it was like artificial intelligence. You would scan the face, you would see exactly in a minute what you needed to do, what you needed to use, what the steps were, and then you just kind of went for it. And so I probably have given like 30, 40,000 facials in my time. And in doing that, you also then learn, like, what type of skin needs what kind of exfoliation, what kind of skin needs what kind of ingredient. I would also recommend, of course, for customers, other people's products. So we had Bliss, but we carried other people's product lines. So we would do the follow-up. Here's your prescription for what you should use in between facials. And it would be, you know, creme de la mer or this or that, or whatever thing that we happen to sell that they could take care of their face in between. But we were buying it wholesale, and then we would sell it for retail. And it was expensive stuff. And you would see, like, sometimes you'd want to give somebody 5 different things because they really needed it. They'd need like a great cleanser because they tend to clog up, and they'd need some niacinamide because their barrier wasn't, you know, keeping a good pace of repair, let's just say. And they might need vitamin C, but, you know, back then a 15% vitamin C was $80. And you're telling someone to put this on their face once or twice a day. It was really
like this big too, right?
That big. Yeah. And so I ended up starting, actually was a lady in Canada at a lab outside of Toronto, believe it or not, when I wanted to do a product line for Bliss. I actually started out just by doing bath and body things because I thought it would be kind of fun. And when I realized how inexpensive most product was coming out of the labs. It was quite a shock to me. And another thing that I learned along the way, when I went to Italy to start sourcing makeup and lipstick and all those kinds of things, what I realized was when you walk into a lot of the premier and leading labs that make the makeup for us at that time, they were also making the makeup for Bobbi Brown and Yves Saint Laurent. So you would go in and you would walk down a hallway, and there would be the little card with your company's name on the outside of the door. And then there were 10 other doors with 10 other companies' names, and they were showing them the same stuff. So with makeup, a lot of the makeup that's on the market, I'd say probably 90% of it comes from the same 6 factories. And very often it's the same makeup, right? And it can be their very best formulation is picked by maybe 20 brands out there. And so you could end up paying anywhere between $40 and $65 or even $80 for something that might cost $4 or $5 to make. And
I want to know when you say that, because I think this is so commonplace for you, but I think for everyone's mind, they're like, what? So let's take a quick break, and then we'll give them that what moment, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
It's so hard to believe that is, well, number one, allowed, and then number two, that it's like a secret for most people. They don't know this. And the only reason I'm not as shocked is because my girlfriend lived in Shanghai, and they do it with all the designer bags. And she said they would make them all day, and then at nighttime they'd kind of prop open a door and take a few, they'd make extras and shuffle them out the door and resell them in the markets.
Yes.
Nothing. For nothing, or put it like a different label on it. And she was like, it's insane. And I was like, what?
Well, and now that we have met with you, and you're sharing this story with the podcast, but we met with Marcia months ago, and she enlightened us. And since then, every time someone is linking a skincare product or a makeup product, and I click on it and I see how much it costs, I'm like, you kind of feel like you're like, oh my gosh, you're such a fool. Like, you don't even know it. You don't even know that you're just wasting money on a formulation you could get for so much less.
But it's hard to know what to do. And I feel like that's where Beauty Pie comes in so clutch, is because you guys take the best and then make it, because you do the homework for us, because there is so much product out there, and it's so hard to decipher. And I feel like what you guys do is take the best, and then you're like the weeder, and then you're like, this is the formulas that you want and need we're cut and copy, but in a much more accessible way.
Oh, in an interesting way, what we found is with makeup, there's a lot of great stuff out there being made by the leading makeup labs. Absolutely. With skincare, not so much. So if you look at the range of makeup that you can shop for on Beauty Pie for so much less than what you're going to pay at retail, you'll probably recognize some of the, shapes. So what do I have? I have, for instance, you might recognize, I have something in my pocket that I use all the time. You might recognize this lip crayon as being very similar.
I love that. And my 8-year-old in dance is like, I put it on today, and she's like, I love that color. I want that. I'm like, you're 8. You only get it at dance. You don't get it for school.
Can you say where people might recognize that shape from?
Well, we try not to, because I find that to be kind of bad manners, but let's just say it starts with an S, the brand, right? So you could, and probably has 6 letters. And this retails for, 60 pounds or so, or $60 or something like that. So it's ridiculous markups. And so we often go to those labs, and we choose their very best formulations for eyeshadows, and it might be eyeshadow crayons or lip pencils, which are great from Germany, or lip glosses or foundations. We have a very, very good Italian foundation. Let's just leave it at that. We also go to Japan and use the very best Japanese labs, and some from South Korea. And we do that edit, especially for makeup. And then we have a makeup artist that works with us to get just the right colors so that they're really beautiful on everybody. For skincare, it's a little different. And what I've found is that with most labs, and I learned this very early on, because I was working with a lab in France when my very first business, which was Bliss, got sold to LVMH. and we went to the LVMH skincare lab outside of Paris, and they gave me a bunch of
no,
formulations to try.
LVMH owns basically just so they know, LVMH owns like lots of things.
Yes,
So
like Louis Vuitton and Christian Dior and Fresh. Yeah, I mean, you name it, they own a lot of luxury brands.
Was a massive deal, so your product must have been amazing, and you know exactly what you were doing. Basically, that's the point.
Thank you. That's so flattering. Thank you. And even there, the chemist would give me these formulations, and I'd go home and I'd try them, and I'd go back and I'd say, Fred, his name was Frederic. I'd be like, Fred, this doesn't do anything. And he goes, nothing does anything. And I'm like, I want products. I want skincare for my customers that does something. And I think what most third-party labs do is they'll mix up something that has a very low cost of goods, because the brands will just grab those and then remarket them as they are. So what we've made sure to do with Beauty Pie products is to really specify from the ground up exactly what's in a product for exactly what problem a customer might have, so that they make sure that they're going to see a difference in their skin from using that product. I do not want to have anything on our roster, in our warehouses, that people aren't going to be absolutely thrilled with, or aren't going to see a visible difference after using it for, I mean, it might be a day, but it might be 3 weeks or 6 weeks. One skin cycle is usually 6 weeks. So if you use something for 6 weeks, you should see a big difference, but not if you don't have enough active ingredient in that product. So now the scientists who work at the skincare labs that we work with, and we work with probably 8 or 9 different skincare labs that are really, really good, they love us because they never get to work with active ingredients at the levels that we ask them to put into the formulations. And I think for them, it's also like being a kid in a candy store.
Right.
I love the youth bomb.
Yes.
I also love that it comes in like a large,
Yeah.
it's in a, there's a lot of it. And so,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of products, when you can't see it and then you're going and you're like, is there anything left in there? But where is it? Yeah.
Are you talking, wait, there are 4
No,
youth bombs.
the one you click on the top with the silver.
One.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
I
it's
don't
so
know what
good.
it does. I don't know what it does, but I love it.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. This one is actually from Dr. Markey. So we worked with a dermatologist named Dr. Andrew Markey. He's like the guy in England. But everybody goes to him, but he won't tell us who, but everybody.
Okay.
And he worked with us to do this formulation. It's actually his formula, and it has, I think, like 27 or 33% active ingredients, which is unheard of. Like, if you normally buy a product from a retailer that's a skincare product, it might have 0.3% active ingredients if you're lucky. And this is 33. And it's so amazing. So amazing. Bounces the light right off your face, which is what makes you look incredible. It's light reflection.
Literally, and those other little capsules, the pink ones.
The hyaluronic acid capsules, those are incredible. Have you tried the vitamin C capsules?
No, I don't have those.
Ooh, yeah, I know we've had a little hard, it's hard to get stuff across. I said that next time I come to Canada, I'm bringing a suitcase.
Yeah, no, but when it comes, we do get, it is like our birthday anniversary. It's like so exciting to open up all the products.
And my mom, she was here, and she she's does not do anything. And I taught her how to use because the crayons are so easy for people. And
oh yeah.
I just use a little bit concealer, a little bit, and the cream blushes, I'm use a little bit of cream brush and this lipstick. And she was it's so excited, and she took all of my favorite lipsticks, but that's fine. I was happy she could have them. And I was just it's such little things. And you do have a different model than most people have, because I think everyone's listening is
what are you talking
about?
Because you guys, she was in the beauty industry too for a hot minute. So when you guys talk, it's you guys know what you're saying, but when it's I'm a chef in a kitchen and I've never cooked before in my life. You know what I mean? So you two are we're all what are they talking about? So
now we know that you have the best labs, the most active ingredients, all of the most amazing formulations. Now,
at less cost.
So how does the membership work, and why is it different from everything else?
Okay, so Beauty Pie is like a members club, kind of like if you had Costco, right? But it was full of the luxury products and formulations, and it was all luxury beauty products. So you pay basically a membership fee for the year, or you can pay monthly, but it's more expensive to pay monthly, and it's just a no-brainer to go for an annual membership. And not only do you get to shop at about up to 70% off what would normally be the retail price of any of those products, but also we have member perks pretty much every month of the year and more, where you get when you shop, you get a free full-size product, which is something that we think would be great for, like, anyone to add into their routine. So I think it was last month's member perk was Dr. Glycolic Glow Toner, because everybody should be using a glycolic once in a while just to get rid of the dead cells. And it's the most incredible toner. Amazing. Comes from Switzerland, has niacinamide in it. And a full bottle of it is about probably a $65 product, but you get that for free as a member with your order. So what you not only get incredible deals on everything, because we go to the labs and we buy in bulk like large cosmetic companies do. So it's kind of like you're part of a large cosmetics company. You don't have to run it, but you do have to give us a $59 a year in order to access the prices. So it's kind of like you're contributing to the running of the club. And then you get these crazy, fantastic deals on the very best product out there, curated by experts.
Give us an example of what the deal would be. Like, give us an example of
Okay, I'll show you a particular product. Now,
know how crazy it is, because we've seen it, but a lot of people are listening, not watching. So they'll be like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so let's start with, we have different price points for everything also. So pretty much the most expensive product that we've got on the entire website is the one that you were talking about, which is this youth balm. And that's because Dr. Markey's involved. And of course, we have to compensate him for his work, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a super, super expensive product to make because it's 33%, active ingredients. So this retails for, I believe, $49 at Beauty Pie. But if you were to go out to Neiman Marcus or a Nordstrom or what is the really fabulous one in Canada?
Holtz.
Yes, Holtz. You'd probably pay upwards of $175, $200 for that.
Totally. Easily. So, because there's so much in there too, like easily.
Yes. It's huge. It's a 50 ml, not a 30 ml. We also, because we're trying to be mindful of the environment, most of the packages are quite big. So we don't do those tiny little things. We do like big ones.
To the top, like fill to the very top, because a lot of these products you get and it's a quarter, even though the thing is full. So that is
okay. So we're at high end. We're looking at a product like that would be 175 at Beauty Pie on its own. When you're not a member, you're looking at about $50.
No, you have to be a member to access the $50.
What if you're not a member and you just want to go buy that?
Well, you can buy it for $175, like everybody else, like you would shop if you were walking into a Sephora. But if you want to get the insider deals, you have to contribute to the club. And I think it's fair.
And I think it's fair. And literally, like with the annual membership, usually in your first purchase, it's already paying for stuff.
You would save your annual membership buying one bottle of Youth Balm Serum. So it is such a no-brainer. And also, the more of us that there are, the better negotiating power we have, so we can get better deals on bottles, we can move faster, we can get more stock, more colors, all that kind of stuff.
It makes so much sense, like what you're saying, because we've been having cars stolen like crazy. I'm sure you've heard in Toronto, cars are being stolen like it's so crazy. Yeah. So my street is like talking about getting a security guard, but 30 people need to buy in. And then my husband's like, well, what if number 28 doesn't want to buy in? They get the perk of,
the security guard.
And I'm like, I know, but if you want to buy into the community so everyone can benefit as a whole to not have their car stolen.
That is such a timely example.
But I'm just saying, then you would all go in because the cost is shared, and then you don't have to go buy a new car because it gets stolen. But basically, same thing as when everyone goes in together, you access. So it's really, you're doing a good thing for your community too.
And do members also get different shipping prices?
So members are able to get free shipping over a certain threshold. So I think in the US, it's different in the US and the UK, but it's not much. I mean, our average order value. So what people normally order is like $80 or $100 worth of stuff, which gives you a crazy amount of stuff. So you spend $80 or $100 and you have a big box full of luxury skincare, cosmetics, hair care. We also, we're doing gummies. These ones are coming out next month.
Like,
Very excited about those.
Not ones that get you high. Not ones that get you.
No, unfortunately, no.
Not yet. Not yet.
No.
The other thing is, guys, when we're talking about this, and if you're not seeing it, and we're talking about how she goes and buys in bulk, and it's not like, it's not these like luxury name brands. The packaging is so cool.
The smell is so
pretty.
good.
The quality of like the bottles and the glass and the tubes, everything is like really, really nice.
I do want to say one more thing too, because I would say in our like culture right now, where like it's like the trends come and go so quickly that it's like you're constantly chasing the next trend. And the nice thing about what you're doing is, because you're looking at what's going on in the market, you're able to recreate it. So it's not like, you're doing what everyone else is doing, but you don't have to buy at that same cost to like see if you like it or not. Because really, we were just saying, it's so hard. So many of us are looking to 20-year-old makeup influencers and skincare experts that don't actually have the
same issues.
They don't. And we're chasing things that will never work for us. So like, when you look at the different things that you need, you can access so much more in a place rather than having to go to 7 lines and like, is this right? Is this right? Am I doing this? Like you're doing this and you're taking all the trends and putting them in one place for us at an accessible cost.
Yes, and it is, you're so right. It's nice to be able to kind of experiment also. So if you want to try something, you want to try niacinamide, or you want to try hyaluronic acid, or you want to try polyglutamic acid, or any of those new things, you can, and it might cost you $20 instead of 150. And but the product is equally good, if not better, than what you would have paid 150 for. So you can kind of shop with a little bit of reckless abandon. I think the beauty of Beauty Pie also is that, women often feel guilty spending money on themselves because we've got kids, we should be paying the mortgage. And just to be able to have this beautiful little box where it's your pink box that you've ordered your stuff, exactly what you wanted. It's not, we don't send you anything without you ordering it, which is also good because you don't end up with a bunch of landfill or things that aren't the right color for you. You're really choosing and curating your own product out of our curated selection. But you never feel bad when it arrives. You feel more smart. You feel like, aha, I'm winning here. Because you're not overpaying and you've done something like really clever, but at the same time, you're also not sacrificing or compromising at all. It's all just amazing stuff.
And it's nice to try things. Like I love trying new things. Like to me, that's what I love about Beauty Pie too for us is because when you only have like say one thing, if you partner with one company and you only use that one thing, that's not realistic. Like that's not something that is like, that's not something that people do. So it's like, we get to try everything at our disposal rather than trying to be like, oh, I can only do this. I took your,
you steal something from me?
No, it's the one palette. What's it called with the makeup?
Oh my gosh. The highlighter, the blush, the bronzer.
Is it one palette wonder?
It's black and then it's got a little branding in a square in the middle.
Yes, I think it's one palette wonder.
That's my face today.
So my daughter bought a really expensive one. Let's just say it starts with a C and has a D in it. And that
oh my God.
She doesn't even save your money, doesn't even wear makeup. And it was in my bathroom. So I tried it and I was like, oh my God, this is like
exactly
too pigmented. No, it was too pigmented. It was like, it wasn't actually, it's like it puts on white because they want to be highlighter rather than the color. Do you know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, I way prefer the Beauty Pie. Like it was just,
you know what rings true to like when you're saying like women and moms, they're taking care of their kids, they're taking care of their families, and they feel guilty spending on themselves. Yes. And we need to do that. But instead of sitting like at the hockey rink or on the baseball diamond and looking over at her and saying, wow, her skin looks so beautiful and her makeup is just so lovely, like realizing you can have that too. And it's not going to cost you so much, but you deserve it as much as she deserves it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And, it's sort of the equalization. Well, it's the best kept secret, right? Because people may want to put out there that they spend a tremendous amount on themselves, or they, for so long we were all told you're worth it, right? But that is it's really interesting because you're worth it means you'll spend a lot on it. And I'm trying to tell everyone you're worth it. You don't need to spend a lot on it because you shouldn't have to pay 10 times as much for something because somebody else's name is stamped on it. Like, let's all just be our own brand. And of course, if you want to buy something from some other brand, people say, well, I don't want to buy everything from Beauty Pie. And it's like, you don't have to. You can just save like thousands of dollars on about 80% of your annual skincare bill. And then, you can still experiment with other stuff that you see. But our quality is so incredible because we don't necessarily, a lot of the bigger brands, if they're making a lot of sales on a particular product, their way to make more money is to go and value engineer that product so it's not as good anymore. They'll take out some of the high cost parts. And that means the product gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and they advertise it more, but the customer gets a lesser product. And I just wanted to stop that terrible cycle. I wanted it to be, us making the very, very best product. And instead of it being marked up 12 or 15 or 20 times by the time the customer buys it, it might be 3 by the time we ship it, test it, legal it, design it, photograph it, et cetera, et cetera. So you're getting at least 4 times more for your money in terms of quality. And you're right, it's a selection and an edit that suits women who aren't makeup artists, don't want to layer on 50,000 things, want to take really good care of their skin, might be at that age where they're starting to see fine lines and wrinkles and actually need to do something about it that makes a difference. So really important.
For people listening, that they're like, I have wrinkles. I don't know what I need to get. Like, I think that our biggest thing with this partnership is going to be like helping people people are overwhelmed by what they need to get. And that's why they look to TikTokers or people who are like, they get influenced so easily because it's so hard to navigate. How do we as like women go and figure out what we need when we don't have you with our hands on our skin? Because I'm assuming there's something we can all do to figure that out.
Oh yeah, you know what? We have Dr. Marcia, who is the genius behind the whole Youth Bomb range, has explained it in a really easy to understand way for all of our members. And that is there are 6 letters that you need to remember to have really beautiful skin.
Okay.
And it's A, B, C, and SPF.
Oh, right? No, you didn't.
What's ABC?
Okay, so A is retinol or retinoid. And everybody above the age of 30 should be using a retinoid at night or a retinol at night, unless you are pregnant or breastfeeding, in which case you have to wait until you're finished and then you can start.
Why?
And we
Why?
have,
Why does retinol do?
Why? Well, it's really actually not necessary, but for safety, we just say that retinoids can make their way into your system. There isn't much proof that they've ever done anything wrong, but we love to be better safe than sorry, right? So we just say,
why do we want to use it? Why do we need to use it?
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were asking about the pregnant and breast.
Both are interesting.
So vitamin A is the molecule that turns into a retinoid in your skin and is responsible for cell regeneration, for collagen and elastin production, for keeping your skin exfoliating at a regular and optimal rate, while at the same time creating that structure and the buttress under your skin so that you have less line and wrinkle formation. So it also is really great for preventing any kind of skin cancer because it will help your skin to exfoliate off. So you want to be using retinoid or vitamin A every single evening, even in the summer. You want to put it on. You may not use one that's quite as strong in the summer if you're worried about it, but even in the summer, you want to use that every single night underneath a moisturizer or as a moisturizer.
So that goes on first. Number 1 retinol goes on A.
No, A is in the evening. You would cleanse first.
Yeah,
you might want to cleanse and scrub or cleanse and tone, and then you put on your A.
Thank you. A.
And if you put your A on as in a serum form, you might want to moisturize after it. But if you put your A on as a moisturizer, that can be your moisturizer. Up to you. We have a kit that's ABC and SPF that people can start with. And it's got like your A, your B, your C, and your SPF in it. But you can also shop all the retinols that are on the website and choose if you want to have a serum or a cream. It doesn't really matter. And you can also introduce these active ingredients into your current routine. So if you have a moisturizer that you really love, you don't need to give that up. You can just slot a vitamin A, a retinol in before that moisturizer in the evening.
And you're
Then-
right, everyone has their own preference. Like I prefer to do the retinol, and then I like to also put a moisturizer on top, but some people just want it both in one and it doesn't matter to them. So you have to sort of, once you're experimenting, you got to realize how you like to care for your
When
skin.
does the youth bomb go on?
Oh, well, okay. So there is also a Youth Bomb double retinol. So one of the retinols we have.
That one, Marcia, where is that one in my life?
You don't have that yet? I'm
No.
looking for it. I'm like, where's the retinol back here? But I think the retinol is over there. But the Youth Bomb double retinol, which Dr. Markey launched a couple of months ago, it's quite strong. So I wouldn't recommend it for people if they've never used retinol. But if you have used retinol and you want to start on that, it's incredible.
Oh, I
I
can't
think you
wait.
have it. I think you have it.
Really?
Yes, I just think you haven't gotten it.
And I can't see. Is it Youth Bomb though? It's Youth Bomb.
Yes,
Or is it
it's Youth Bomb. It's Youth Bomb.
Bomb.
Yeah, it's in, I think, hang on, I think I only have the box because I think the actual tube, which is sort of a pump tube or a pump bottle, is upstairs.
Is it white?
No, that's super retinol. So there's the whole super retinol range, which is microencapsulated retinol, very gentle, will not make you red, is okay for sensitive skin. Everybody can use it. You'd start, the least strong of those is the moisturizer, and then there are 2 serums. And if you've never used retinol, you want to start with one of those as your retinol or your A in your ABC SPF.
Gotcha.
If you are more experienced with retinol use and you want to go hard, hard.
We like to go hard.
We like to go
I
hard.
figured. Figured you guys. Then I would go with the Youth Bomb double retinol overhaul serum. But I find that when I use this, do not put it on your lips. Number one, I had one of our members emailed me the other night. And she's like, my lips are getting really dry. And I was like, you're not putting retinol on your lips. It goes around the lips, but incredible also for fine lines around the lips, for texture on the chin. I mean, this stuff is amazing, but you do need a moisturizer on top because, and I use Youth Bomb retinol, and then I use the Youth Bomb Biologic Elastic Cream, but you can use any moisturizer on top of this. So you could use oxygen moisturizer if you feel like your skin needs some brightness and vitamin C. You can use triple hyaluronic acid. You can shop the website and see, what looks fun.
Okay.
None of it's ridiculously expensive. So you can experiment. You can even order 3 different moisturizers and use one in the morning and one at night. And it's the B. Okay, so the B is, do I have it? I should have. I didn't know you guys were going to ask me this question. Or I would have had everything.
No, I feel like people are going to be like, what do I need to do? That's what they don't want to think too hard. What do I do?
Okay, so the B is niacinamide. So in the morning, now niacinamide is an incredible ingredient, and Dr. Markey will call it his master molecule, like A, B, and C, master molecules, right? Vitamin A is a retinoid. Vitamin B, niacinamide. We have a product that's called niacinamide super drops in a blue bottle. Unbelievable. Not only is niacinamide really incredible for making sure that your skin's barrier is repaired and structurally sound, but it's also fantastic for brightening any pigmentation and also stimulates your skin's own hyaluronic acid production. So your skin will be dewier if you use niacinamide regularly. Unbelievable. So use a few drops of niacinamide in the morning, just pat it on after cleansing or after cleansing and toning, depending what you do in the morning. If you don't cleanse and tone in the morning, you just shower, jump out of the shower. You could also just put your vitamin B, which is your niacinamide, straight on your face, kind of like a toner. So whatever works for you.
For breakouts too, for women who are hormonal, is the niacinamide, right? I know that.
In fact, yes, because in our niacinamide, we didn't just put niacinamide, we added an ingredient called Evermat, and Evermat is an ingredient that if you have skin that is too oily, it will regulate the excess oil production only in the sebaceous follicles that are overactive. But if you're too dry, it will stimulate sebaceous secretions in sebaceous follicles that are underactive.
It's a wonder drug. Skincare is so smart.
I know.
It can do so many things.
If you get the right ingredients in the right, it is amazing.
Do this work for the next?
Are you talking next?
Does this work For the
Wait,
neck.
don't you want to talk? Yes, all of this stuff should go on your face and your neck. However, I will tell you about, but wait, do you want to talk about vitamin C first before we talk about neck?
Neck spray too. I use the neck and décolleté spray.
And also you use what's extra on the top of your hands.
Always, never waste any skincare. But there is a neck and chest spray, and it is based on niacinamide and a peptide called Idealift. And it has an ingredient called Kilgore, which is firming. Idealift is a peptide, which helps build back collagen. And then your niacinamide is your barrier repairing ingredient. And this, you can just spray on in the morning on chest and neck. It's incredible. Incredible.
Yes,
I have to add that one.
What's the C?
You gotta have that. Okay, vitamin C, of course. So we've got A, which is, I'm repeating, right? Just so everybody listen. Yeah, so A is your retinol in the evening, underneath or as a moisturizer every night. Okay, except if you're pregnant and breastfeeding. B is your niacinamide. We have niacinamide super drops, blue bottle, incredible for pigmentation lightening, for brightening the skin, for boosting self-hyaluronic acid production, and for barrier repair.
And that goes on in the morning. B's in the
That goes
morning.
in the morning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, B, or I mean, you can use your B under your retinol in the evening too, as long as you use it once a day, right? Just once a day. You got to have ABC and you got to have SPF. SPF, of course, goes on in the morning because that's when the sun is shining. Vitamin A, which is your retinoid, has to go in the evening. Your B and C, you can kind of, whatever. But I generally use my B in the morning. Then I use my C, which is another master molecule. So ABC being the master molecules. C is great for collagen production, for firming, for pigmentation lightening. And it is an incredible antioxidant. So it helps with not only stopping inflammation in your skin that is a cause of free radicals, right? But also just in terms of general structural capacity for the skin to be firmer and having, that bounce back in your face.
That's the youth bomb, right?
No, youth bomb is peptides. So the C, we have about 4 different products on the Beauty Pie website, which are vitamin C. There are drops, which you can use if you want drops. There's capsules, these little twist off capsules, which are incredible also. The drops are more if you have high levels of pigmentation, if you have uneven pigmentation. The capsules are really super travelable and a very strong double vitamin C with vitamin E. We also have a serum for someone who has more sensitive skin. If you want to use vitamin C and you have more sensitive skin. And then we have these freeze dried ampules, but they're almost sold out. So let's not talk about them right now because we only get them from Japan and we have to beg for them and they come like once every 18 months. And I don't want people to,
Oh my gosh.
get their
That's like the coveted. We need a wait list for that one. We need to start a wait list for that bad boy.
Yep. They are fun and they are good. But all of the vitamin C's are great. And I'll just say like our vitamin C super drops, they're called Superdose C, C-Suite Rapid Action Power Brightener Vitamin C are the equivalent, if not better, to some other brand that starts with a skin and ends with a souls. I don't know if you can.
Got it.
Love that
but like a quarter of the price.
Yes.
I love that you know every product and what it's for and inside it. Like it just goes to show that you're not just like trying to I think that if anyone's listening, it's like, this is why we want to do this, is because I feel like you're doing it for you. And we had this conversation last night and I'm so cognizant of your time and we'll let you go. But someone said to us, like, something about like what we're doing. And I'm like, well, we're living what we're doing because we are what we're doing. So I'm like, that's why it works, is because like you're consuming and then creating. And I think that you're not like a male in his 80s trying to get product for women. It's like you're living, you're getting what you want. And I think that that's what we always did, was created what we needed and what we wanted and what resonated with us, rather than thinking about what everybody else thought they wanted. Does that make sense?
And the fact that you started as a facialist, it's like, that just makes so much sense to believe you, because everything about it. Okay. So I want to also point out before we get to like what we're going to tell the audience that we're going to be doing, but isn't there something full circle that is happening from where you began to now launching in North America about like a location of your office or something? Because this is right?
Yeah. So it's really exciting. So the very first salon that I opened was this little place called Let's Face It. And I opened it at 568 Broadway, which was on Prince Street and Broadway in Soho. It was above Armani Exchange at the time and next door to Dean and DeLuca. And I, had stuffed cash under my mattress and saved up so that I could pay the rent on this place. And we had 3 facial rooms, and it became very popular. Like, this was where all of the stylists and the celebs sort of started to come in. And that's also the same building that we built Bliss in. So when we expanded and when the business then changed names and we had body treatments and everything like that, we called it Bliss, and we moved to the 5th floor in that same building. No, wait, I started on the 5th floor and I ended up on the 2nd floor. And then I took over some of the 3rd floor. So when I decided that we needed an office in New York to really kind of get going again, I thought, well, we're not a US based company yet, right? So we don't have accounts in the US. So where can I get a lease without having accounts and somewhere in the US? And where do I know? Where do I feel really at home? So I called my old landlord at 568 Broadway, Bonnie. I call her Bon Shapiro, because she always used to come in and she would eat the brownies in the lounge at Bliss. And I was like, hey, Bon, do you have anything that you can rent to me, because we need an office in New York because we're going to take over America.
Yes.
And she said, yeah, I've got suite, 20 whatever available. So we went in and she made us a deal and we rented it, and we will be moving in June, although we already ship from New Jersey. So we've got a warehouse set up in New Jersey and everybody can order already. But it's really exciting to be back home, back home in Soho on my corner.
How many years after you first started in that building?
That would be 27 years.
I just think that's so cool and crazy.
It is really cool. I remember the day that we opened, or the days that we were setting up just to open Bliss, and driving to Queens and getting shelving and installing it myself all night so that we could open on time. And like, those were the days. It was super fun, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yes.
Bonnie. I just call you Bonnie.
Bon
Shapiro.
As we like close out, everyone listening, we'll have to ask, do you think you'll ever come to Canada?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I mean, we have had such a hard time. We put in this software system when we first sort of launched in the UK, and I thought it'd be really easy to plug in extra countries, and it ended up being impossible. And so people are like, when are you opening in Canada? And unfortunately, just to try and do it was so much work. It just wouldn't have made any sense because we wouldn't have been able to do anything else. That's how software is. I highly recommend, before you choose a software system, like, take a month to dig underneath every rock, because you can really get stuck. So it's taken us a very long time. And this week we're actually replatforming. And after we replatform, we'll be able to look at all the, rules, regs, how we ship across Canada and every other country that's been begging us to come.
It'll be sooner than later.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. I don't want to make any promises. I'd rather under promise and over deliver. And in the meantime, I'll just shuffle things in my suitcase.
I love it. And so many people that are listening are in the US. Guys, for everyone, Kat and I are kicking off an amazing partnership with Beauty Pie. We have been experimenting with the makeup and the skincare a little bit. We're gonna be doing it all like with you guys that are all listening, and we're gonna be trying the product with you, talking about it. And we have a code that is Kat and Nat that will give you Kat and Nat is the code, and it'll give you 2 months off of your annual membership.
Nice.
Great. So you're going to get an annual membership for the cost of 10 months.
Not
Math
12 months. I was like, not 12 months.
Not
I can't
12
do
months.
So or does it add 2 months to the cost of a 12 months?
I specifically asked that question because I thought the same thing, and I got back that in fact that you'll get the annual for less, and you'll get 2 free months inside of there.
Oh, I'll go make sure that that's how it's working.
Yes. And we're going to share it everywhere, and we're going to share our whole experience, and we're so excited about this partnership.
It takes $10 off your membership.
Oh,
and
text in.
It is for 2 months free. Use code Kat and Nat, all caps. I just got it on my watch as we were sitting here.
Thank you, producer.
So great. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for everybody. First, I'm so excited to be working with you two, because you are a riot, and you're so fun and normal. Except
normal.
Oh my God, I love that.
And we're so inspired by you too. And I do feel like one bucket list thing Kat and I have to do is we saw the reopening of your office in the UK, and isn't it like all pink?
There's a lot of pink.
We have to come to that office when
I
you're
think so.
there and like poke around and meet everybody, because we got to be there.
I think you need to come to one of the labs in Italy when they're making lipstick.
No, I love
I
that
think
for
that
us.
would be like
I love that
actually
for us.
quite fun.
And then I'm gonna ask you this. I'm new to Beauty Pie. Let's say I'm pretending I'm someone else. What product am I putting in my cart, recommended by Marcia today? I'm putting 2 items in. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm just a mom from New Jersey. What am I putting in my cart?
I would say put in. So we have always the same 10 items that end up in everybody's cart, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of look at it and go, okay, well, it looks like everybody feels very comfortable starting with these items. One of them is a product called Super Healthy Skin Ultimate Anti-Aging Cream. And it's from Switzerland. It's about $25. You would pay $150 at retail for something of this quality. And it kind of is like all in one, right? There is some vitamin C in there, no niacinamide at the moment. But it is an incredible all-around, really amazing moisturizer. Smells great, feels great, goes well under makeup, excellent under SPF. If you're gonna later add in your B and an extra shot of C, great. The other thing I would recommend, as long as you're not pregnant or breastfeeding, is to start on that vitamin A in the evening by getting the Super Retinol Night Moisturizer. It is a really gentle entry retinol, and it makes such a huge difference. Even just that little bit of retinol, it's slow release. It will really turn your skin over and make you look fresh and glowy and dewy, and you'll see results in like a week that really are different, but over 6 weeks, amazing. And then you can kind of gear up to get the next strength up and the next strength and work your way up to the Youth Bomb Retinol.